She rummaged through her toiletry bag, her heart sinking with each passing moment. It was a familiar feeling, the sinking feeling of forgetting something important. She pulled out sunscreen, lotion, even a sewing kit, but the one thing she needed was missing. Her toothbrush, that simple yet essential tool for daily hygiene, was nowhere to be found. A wave of frustration washed over her. How could she have forgotten something so basic? It was a silly mistake, but one that could cast a shadow over her entire trip. She imagined herself facing the world with fuzzy teeth, her breath less than fresh. The thought made her cringe. She considered her options. She could venture out to a nearby store and buy a new toothbrush, but that felt like a chore. Besides, it was already late, and she was tired from her travels. There had to be a simpler solution. That's when she remembered. She was staying at a hotel known for its cutting-edge technology. Surely they could help. She picked up the phone and dialed the front desk. "Hello?" she said, her voice laced with a hint of desperation. "I seem to have forgotten my toothbrush. Is there any way I could get one?" The receptionist, her voice calm and professional, assured her that it was no problem at all. "We'll send one up right away," she said. "Just give us a few minutes." She hung up the phone, relieved but also a little curious. What would this high-tech hotel's solution to her toothbrush dilemma be? Would a person bring it up, or would they have some other, more futuristic method? She waited, her curiosity piqued, her mind buzzing with possibilities. Minutes later, a soft knock on the door startled her. She wasn't expecting such a quick response. She jumped up from the bed and approached the door, her hand hovering over the knob. A strange mix of excitement and trepidation filled her as she opened the door. Standing in the hallway wasn't a person, as she had expected, but a gleaming robot. It was a sleek, metallic figure, about waist-high, with a smooth, rounded head and bright, expressive eyes that glowed with a soft blue light. Its arms were slender and articulated, ending in delicate-looking hands that seemed capable of handling even the most fragile objects. She stared at the robot, her mouth agape. This was not what she had expected. A wave of surprise, tinged with a hint of amusement, washed over her. She couldn't help but smile. This hotel was full of surprises. The robot, sensing her presence, looked up at her with its glowing blue eyes. Its head tilted slightly to the side, as if examining her. Then, in a clear, synthesized voice that seemed to emanate from its entire body, it spoke. "Good evening, madam," it said. "I have your toothbrush." She was taken aback by the robot's politeness. It spoke with a formal courtesy that seemed both endearing and slightly unsettling. She found herself wanting to laugh, but she managed to maintain her composure. "Thank you," she replied, her voice a bit shaky. "This is unexpected." The robot extended one of its slender arms towards her, its delicate hand unfurling to reveal a small white box. She recognized it instantly. It was the kind of packaging used for travel toothbrushes. She reached out and took the box from the robot's hand, her fingers brushing against its smooth, metallic skin. It was a strange sensation, touching something so cold and lifeless, yet so oddly lifelike in its movements. She felt a strange mix of awe and unease, as if she were interacting with something from a science fiction novel. She couldn't help but wonder, what other technological marvels did this hotel hold? The robot, its mission accomplished, stood motionless for a moment, its glowing blue eyes fixed on her. Then, with a slight whirring sound, it turned and began to roll away down the hallway. Its movements were smooth and silent, like a phantom gliding through the shadows. She watched it go, her mind racing. This brief encounter, as surreal as it was, had left a deep impression on her. It was a glimpse into a future where robots were no longer confined to factories and laboratories, but were becoming an integral part of everyday life. She closed the door, her heart still pounding from the encounter. She leaned against the door, the small white box still clutched in her hand. She felt a strange mix of emotions, excitement, curiosity, and a touch of apprehension. What did this mean for the future? Would robots soon be performing all sorts of tasks, from delivering packages to cleaning houses to caring for the elderly? She opened the box and took out the toothbrush. It was a simple, disposable toothbrush, nothing special, but in that moment it felt like a symbol of something much larger, a symbol of a future where technology was blurring the lines between the human and the artificial. She brushed her teeth, her mind still buzzing with thoughts of the robot. It was more than just a machine. It was a sign of how quickly technology was evolving. She thought about all the ways robots could improve our lives, making them easier, more efficient, and perhaps even more enjoyable. But she also couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the back of her mind. What would happen to human jobs if robots became sophisticated enough to perform them? Would we end up living in a world where machines did all the work, leaving humans with nothing to do but sit back and consume? She knew that technology, like any tool, could be used for good or for evil. It all depended on the intentions of the people who created and controlled it. She hoped that the future would be one where robots and humans could coexist peacefully, each contributing their unique strengths to society. She finished brushing her teeth and put the toothbrush back in the box. She knew that she would never forget this night, the night she met the robot bellhop. It was a night that had opened her eyes to the possibilities and the challenges of a future filled with intelligent machines. The next morning, she woke up feeling refreshed and ready to face the day. The memory of the robot encounter was still fresh in her mind, but it no longer filled her with apprehension. Instead, it filled her with a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more about this rapidly changing world. She left her room and headed down to the hotel lobby, her eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of the robot. She didn't see it, but she knew that it was out there, somewhere, silently performing its duties. She smiled, realizing that the future wasn't something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Technology, with all its potential and its pitfalls, was here to stay. It was up to us, as humans, to guide its development and ensure that it served to improve our lives, not diminish them. As she stepped out of the hotel and into the bustling city streets, she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. The world was changing, and she was ready to be a part of it. The robot bellhop was just the beginning. Who knew what other technological marvels awaited her in the years to come?